Hi, this is Carmelica, and I want to say thanks to St.Expedite and his consort. And the thank you goes out to St.Expedite because of his works over the last few days since I've started the ritual. And I want to share with you all out there my excitement in sharing St.Expedite's name. The purpose of this video is to tell you about what happened to me and how I got through it through the work and mission of St.Expedite. Not just the mission in itself, but the power of St.Expedite. I want to share a little bit about who St.Expedite was and give a little bit background on St.Expedite. Then I'd like to share with you my testimonial, because as the purpose of this is, he can work it out. St.Expedite was born in Armenia and died a martyr in 303 AD in Melitene, Turkey. Now, according to tradition, St.Expedite was a Roman centurion. He was initially a polytheist, but later converted to Christianity. St.Expedite's conversion led his death during the Diocletian persecution of Christians in 303 AD. Now, as you view the image there, you see that St.Expedite, it is stated that the devil came to him in a form of a crow and encouraged him to put off his conversion until the following day. Now, when St.Expedite refused and crushed the bird under his feet, and he killed it. So it's stated again that when he refused, he stomped the bird and he killed it. And then he thus declared that I will be a Christian today. So this is a typical iconography of St.Expedite, as you see him in that image, which depicts him stomping a bird that is saying cross, which means tomorrow, which means to delay in Latin. So St.Expedite then lists the cross with the word hoodie engraved on it, meaning today. So he's standing with the cross, saying today. That is a short history of who he was. Now, for the depiction of his power, of how he works, the objective of providing the history was to show you, and a depiction of the image is to show you of how his power works. He works expediently on the matter. And the objective of here is to understand that whatever one is experiencing, the sincerity of the heart in the ritual is what moves the power, the sincerity in the petition. As you can see, even in the image of him depicting in the solar format shows you his omniscient, omnipotent presence. And it shows you his workings. So this video here, I'm going to say thanks in that I was experiencing some issues on my job that was threatening my termination. And I started the ritual on Wednesday. And from doing the first day, I experienced a strong connection with St.Expedite, where I was getting a revelation about what was currently happening. And it is though I heard him at my job clearly state the issues that I was experiencing and then what my supervisor was trying to do. See, I was experiencing issues at work where I was being wrote up for everything one day after the other. It was not until I reached out into this ritual through St.Expedite until I understood fully the meaning of what was going on. So, see, basically it was what I was feeling that gave confirmation about my job. But St.Expedite told me in specifically that what my supervisor was trying to do, which was trimming down the department or team. And eventually this would have led to termination. Even if incidents never happened before, the objective was to trim down, terminate, lay off, the words you want to place there. So I was under pressure, great pressure, to try to learn and move forward with corrective steps. Whatever I had to do to try to improve or get favor to understand the working. Everything that was around seemed as though it was unfair. It seemed as though that there were no responses. When I reached out, when I had a problem, there were no replies back to answer them, to help me in the situation. So I started to, after the ritual, the next day, I started to receiving more revelation. And just to tell you a little bit about, in this revelation from St.Expedite, what he provided me with, what learning resources that I needed to utilize to assist me at work. So, just tell you a little bit about the first day. You know, after going back to work, after the ritual, I experienced the worst day where I was written up for a final for something that was not my fault. However, it was the test. And this was what was the most interesting part about the ritual here, because this was the test that St.Expedite was teaching me, which was the humility of my character and the sincere faith in him and in his works. I was so angry at first until I cried, but then I held on and I still attended to my altar each day to show my reverence for his work in progress. So that was one of the things that it was teaching me here in the trial. The next day, which was that Saturday, the second day after the first day of work, I felt the peace. That was the second day of work. And the peace that I felt, I performed out what I thought was an uncomfortable request, but it was an uncomfortable request that was given to me that St.Expedite asked me to do. So I contacted my old supervisor to obtain advice on what resolutions were needed to perform my work on my work performance, since I really wasn't getting reached out to with the current one. So the very same day, my current supervisor called everyone into a meeting and to notify everyone on the work team of work-related compliance issues and errors that were being observed. So I noticed that on the same work day, additional work training was scheduled. So even through that little trial that day, that little trial that happened, by me being obedient to St.Expedite request, a meeting recognition came so that a meeting could be established, so that communication and questions could be answered with the supervisor as to what errors were being performed and how to correct those errors. It was giving us complete instruction as to how to eliminate certain errors in our work performance. So by me stating and following through with reaching out to an old supervisor helped me get a connection with the current one in order to get feedback on what was not being done correctly. So that taught me humility with dealing with stress. And though I thought nothing was working out, I kept on believing for a turnaround, which I saw. And I saw on the next day, with new progress, I saw favor, and I saw changes, and I saw a schedule change. So by me knowing this, it showed me that there's going to be a different team and a different, more likely a different supervisor. Again, I want to say thanks to St.Expedite, because sometimes the course of a storm has to be re-altered so that progress and change and stability can move accordance through the sea, through the storm, so that a person will know how to deal with it and be able to succeed in getting through it and being successful at their performance. I would just like to say that St.Expedite gave me also another request to perform, which I intend to carry that out. Don't see that just what an offering is just an offering, but an offering is what he tells you to do after the work is done. The complete part is what you do for what you're uncomfortable doing. And he revealed to me different books to read and how to step out of my comfort zone in different areas. And again, St.Expedite, I would just want to say thank you for your works and for the power that has been projected through the work. He can work it out.